Are we good to publish the YouTube and Zoom link now? Unlike if the waiting room disabled.
Yeah. We're gonna talk in the chat. Wait, Aaron.
Alright, because it's like 10 now, so people are probably wondering.
Yeah, wait. Can you ping ping everyone about this?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wait, Aaron, we don't want anyone to join the Zoom, right? Or are we opening the Zoom for people to join too? Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I see a lot of people are filtering in on the YouTube. So this section will also be recorded, so don't worry about that. But yeah, welcome to our HackOR opening ceremony. This sort of is an event that lets you know more about what HackOR is and what resources we have, as well as a centralized way to get people to know more about, answer your questions and so on and so forth. One of us will be moderating the chat on YouTube. So if you have any questions, feel free to maybe ask there. Note that there will be a delay in your questions being answered. So let's get started. Yeah, so brief rundown of what HackOR opening ceremony is going to talk about. First, we're going to give an opening remarks, then go over some schedules and deadline that you have to follow, and talk about how we support beginners, what are tracks, since some people have questions about that, what are some competition categories and prizes, our partners, and how to reach out to us in case of questions. And lastly, we'll give a summary and give closing remarks. So thanks. So overall, welcome to HackOR. We have a lot of people with us for our premiere season of the Oregon's, first hackathon that is a coalition between all of the Oregon schools that we have. And this is the first year that we're doing this. So we're all, all of the organizers are very new to organizing hackathons. So, bear with us this year. But so far, everything's going really smoothly, and we have everyone on our team to thank for that, and for you guys too. Yeah, thank you for joining us at this opening ceremony, and we hope you have a lot of fun coding for the next 3 days. And now I'll leave it up to Ivan, who will talk about our participant breakdown.
All right, hello everyone. So kind of going over the numbers and statistics based on like the registrants. So we have over 600 registrants who applied for the hackathon. About 27% of these registrants are from middle school and high school. And the other 73% are consisting of college students as well as graduates. We do have an overwhelming number of Oregon registrants with 32%. Actually 20% of them being outside of the US, which is actually amazing, considering that, we try to create the hackathon to include anyone and everyone, regardless of, your background, where you're from, what kind of experience you have. The distribution regarding majors, so 45% of the students are computer science related, and the rest are kind of a mixture of, engineering, UI design, business, art. So there's like a very diverse background from all these students. Something that is actually amazing is the amount of female representation in the hackathon. So that number is 40%, which is actually higher than the representation of females in the STEM industry, which is amazing. And over 47% of the registrants are actually Asian, 27% are white, the Hispanics are 10%, and the African Americans are 4.5%. And the distribution of level of studies are 58% are undergraduates, 19% are from high school, and the middle school consists of 7%. So it's really amazing how, our vision of creating a open and welcoming environment, regardless of, your background, your level of expertise, how that relates to, like the different statistics and different backgrounds that we've been able to, reach to. And with that, I'll pass it back to, our schedule.
Yeah, so before we talk about the schedule, I also want to emphasize to everyone about, the purpose of HackOR. just like how Ivan talked about how we were trying to be inclusive, I also want to remind everyone that although this is a hackathon, which is a type of coding competition, the whole purpose of HackOR is not for everyone to compete together, but rather to collaborate. We have a lot of diverse crowd, so make sure when you're on the Discord to be respectful to everyone. And the main purpose of the HackOR isn't just to win prizes, even though that might be one of the reasons that you're here today. It is to learn and to sort of grow, and just keep that in mind when we talk about all of the other things, instead of being rather than just focusing on the competition side, because that's what all of our organizers would want as well. And yeah, afterwards I'll just pass it now to Aaron, who will talk about our schedules and deadlines with the HackOR.
Next slide is good. Okay, so once we get to the next slide, we'll show you the schedule for today. Oh, this is new. Oh yeah, okay, there you go. So this is the opening ceremony at 10 a.m. here now, and then we'll have a team building activity at Gather.town around 11. So if you want to meet the people you'll be competing with, you should join that. It'd be cool. And then 2 p.m. is when the hacking starts. So you'll start working with your team, and if you don't have a team, if you're waiting to be placed on a team, that's when channels will be created for you, and that's when the team formation ends. So you won't be able to request users anymore. That's when hacking starts. And then the day after that, there aren't important competition events, but there are cool workshops and everything. So you should join those. And there are a couple links so you can see where those workshops are. So that's that day, Saturday. The day after, Sunday, is when things start to end. So 10 a.m. is when you can start submitting your dev posts for your project. And 2 p.m., all hacking ends. So you have to have submitted your dev post by then, and that's when judging starts. And then you have a few hours, about 5 hours, during which judges will be looking at your projects, your dev post submissions, and figuring out they'll be rating them. Then 7 p.m. is when the closing ceremony starts, and it'll be YouTube streamed like this. So 7 p.m. And that will be that for the event. We'll be handing out awards at that point, I think. We'll figuring out who gets them. So I'll pass it back to Joy.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron, for that introduction to schedule. So to keep in mind that this is a schedule, including the dev post submission, team formation, this is a schedule for the hackers, so the hackathon participants. We also have another category called hackathon conference attendees, and these deadlines would not apply to you. But as a participant, these are some important dates that you keep in mind. And if we can move on to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit more to sort of clarify what these events are that Aaron talked about before. So overall, there are multiple types of events, and the main one is workshops and panels. And there will be sort of if you attended our pre-hack event, which is the ramp up, the workshops will most likely be like that format too. They'll be hosted by Zoom, and you can join and sort of interact with the speaker as well. And the second type of event we'll have is called socials. And socials will be either on GatherTown or Zoom. And our other organizer, Luke, can also talk a little bit afterwards about what GatherTown is, because I'm sure many of you have questions on that. But socials are ways to, either before team formation, to get to know other hackers, so you can form teams, because we do have a way to pair you up with people if you don't end up finding a team. But I feel like it's good overall to, get to know other hackers before the hackathon starts. And we'll also have similar socials even throughout the hackathon. And once you form a team, you can still find a way to talk to other people that are not your team. And the third type is sort of offline events. And these events aren't as important, but they're sort of for fun. So we have a movie night that one of our event organizers is planning, and we'll have mini games such as a hackathon gestress competition on GatherTown, and a blend of other Zoom and Gather and Discord events that we'll be having throughout the event. And then some people have asked in our Discord channel and in our email that they can't find our Zoom link, and we will generally start giving out the Zoom link about 5 minutes before the workshop starts, sometimes a little bit before that, and that's because we'll have to coordinate with the workshop leads and make sure everything's okay. But once the Zoom link is out, you can expect it to be both in the guide and the Google Calendar and in our announcement Discord channel. Now we can move on to the next slide. I'll talk a little bit more, about how HackOR supports beginners, because if the chances are 70% of HackOR participants are beginners. And I find that really amazing, but also a little bit scary on the organizing team, because beginners, these sort of like terms like support tickets, dev posts, they're not very familiar with that. But we really want to support you guys to introduce you to HackOR, because that's the main purpose. All of us created HackOR is to introduce hackathons to more people. And the ways we can support you, in case you're lost up till now, you're throwing all these words at me like dev posts, gather town, what are all these things? So first of all, the number one resource we'll have for the beginners is our HackOR guide. In case you haven't seen the link through email or through Discord, the link is tinyurl.com/HackOR guide. And that is a Notion guide that all of our organizers all worked on together. And it's a way, if you have any questions, the chances are the answer is probably already on there. And the second way is through mentors. So we'll be having, mentors, whether they are, upperclassmen in college or professors at universities or industry professionals, and they'll be there on the Discord if you have any questions. And if you have any questions related to the event, we also have support tickets, which are tickets that all of our organizers would check if you have any specific questions related to your event. And the last way we support beginner is through our community. So if you don't have access to all of these ways so far, for example, I know some people may not have access to Discord, you can still reach out to us at any of the events or workshops. We'll almost always have one of our organizers chaperoning that, and also on GatherTown as well. So these are sort of the ways that we can edge you into the HackOR community. And later on, we'll also go over and clarify many of the things about how do dev posts work and how does project submission work and stuff like that to get you started on what a hackathon is and how you can get involved. Yeah. So now I will pass it on to myself again. Yeah, I hope you guys aren't tired of hearing my voice. But so there are many competition tracks, as you probably saw on our website. So there are 2 tracks, beginner track and general track. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So the beginner track for HackOR is, for beginners. And generally, it's very hard to define the line between beginner and general. And it is something that we urge you to consider for yourself, because it all depends on what you want and what your time commitment is and what your previous experiences are. So some people may be like, our definition of a beginner is, informally speaking, someone who hasn't attended a hackathon before, and at the same time, they're not super code savvy. And I think that you can, a good test of whether you're a beginner or not, that's also on our HackOR guide. But essentially, for these 2 tracks, the general track would be competing with other students who also are familiar with hackathons, and the beginner track would have the option of competing with the beginners as well. So there are 2 pools to make sure that the projects that beginners create don't get over flooded by people who are already very experienced with hackathons themselves. And to switch tracks, in the next slide, we'll talk about how you can switch tracks or decide which track you're in. So to confirm your track, there are 2 parts where you have to confirm. The first part is if you want to form a team. So if you want to form a team, you need to make sure you're in the right category. So if you go to specializations in Discord, the specializations channel, you will see a list of different specializations you can react to. One of which, I think for the emoji A, is for the emoji A is that you are a beginner. So if you are a beginner, we want to make sure that you're sorted with other beginners in your team, so all of you can be eligible for the beginner category prize. And to do that, you can just simply react to the emoji A and you'll be placed in the beginner track. And if you react to any of the other emojis, you'll be placed into the general track. And this will help us form teams with other people who is in your track, so you can compete in the right category. And then for project submission, the second part is something you have to do on right before Sunday. So make sure you do this, when you're submitting your project. If you're submitting your project to the beginner hack track category, you need to select best beginner hack as one of the categories you're competing for. And the day of, we will also be hosting office hours by our organizers. So if you guys have any trouble with that, we'll be there to walk you through that. Yeah. And this is also on the guide, so I'll just go over it very, very briefly, but you can all look on this. There's a special page on our guide for this, but to be eligible for the beginner track, yeah, you must have be a first-time attendee, and if you have a lot of experience, we generally recommend you to go into the general track. Yeah, and that's basically the gist. And now I'll pass it on to, does anyone want to talk about this instead of me? The competition categories.
I can kind of alternate probably with you if that works.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we're going to be talking about competition categories and prizes next. All right, so there's a few HackOR categories and sponsored prizes for this year. So at HackOR, all projects are automatically entered into the main competition. So for first place, the winners team for this year will be receiving first place, and then finalists will be the top 12 teams, including first place of the hackathon. And additionally, students who are eligible and entered their prizes via the beginner track are also eligible for the best beginner hack. You can enter your projects through a special category via dev post and when you submit your project. Remember that students who qualify for a beginner hack or for a beginner can enter this track, however, including first-time attendee and first-time beginner. So make sure you know the category or the qualifications for beginner.
So our first place prize is each member of the winning team of HackOR will get the choice between either receiving the Oculus Quest 2 or getting a Nintendo Switch. And this is very exciting. So yeah, and now we'll talk about the finalist prizes. So the finals prizes is sponsored by Wolfram, and each finalist will get 1 year of Wolfram 1 special personal edition, as well as 1 year subscription to Wolfram Alpha Pro. And this is the best beginner hack that Ryan was talking about, and it's sponsored by NVIDIA. And each member of the winning team would get an NVIDIA Jetson Nano developer kit for up to 4 individuals per team. So if Ryan could talk a little bit about what category prizes are, if you know a bit about that.
Sure. So along with the main prizes, we also have hackathon categories that you can enter your project for, and each project can be entered up to any in any amount of categories, as long as you follow the submission criteria for each. And can you apply for multiple? Yes, just simply check off the categories you wish to apply for in the dev post project submission.
Yeah, so there are multiple types of category prizes that you can find, and you can find this on our dev post as well. It's hackor.devpost.com, and the link is in everywhere: our guide, our emails, and our Discord channel. So the first 4 is the non-sponsored prizes, and the first one is best social good hack, best implementation potential for growth, best UI UX code, and best UI UX no code. And the second page would be wait, hello? Okay, yeah. So the second page would be best humor hack, best use of CockroachDB, best use of MongoDB Atlas, and best VR and AR hack project sponsored by the HackOR. So first I want to talk a little bit about the category prize criteria that Ryan was talking about a little bit before. So each of these categories have a criteria that you generally have to follow to be able to be eligible to submit for this category. So your project can be eligible for multiple, but be careful about like whether your project matches this criteria. So for best social good hack, the criteria is that the project itself has to be with the purpose of social good, so built with the purpose of helping the community. And the implementation of potential for growth is the project with the best implementation potential of growth, built with functionality and scalability in mind. The best UI and UX with code is the project with the best implemented design via code, and the design being both the aesthetics and the user experience. And for this, I want to sort of like elaborate on this more and how this is different from the no code best UI UX. So for this, we will be judging you based on the sort of like code product that you give us. So if you give us a demo of your project, we'll be looking at the UI UX of that demo instead of, you know, the prototype, which is the next category. So the next category for best UI UX no code is a project with the best design-based prototype, such as a prototype on Figma, but it's not limited to Figma. And there's no coding required for this category, and we will be assessing you on whatever prototype and concept that you turn in. But no coding projects are eligible to enter, but make sure you include a Figma link or another design link in your project, so we can be looking at that. For this, we won't be looking at the design for what you implemented via code overall. We'll just be looking at whatever design you gave for the prototype. Yeah, and this is our organizing teams category. So we'll be judging this, but it's called the best humor hack, and it's given to the project that makes us smile. You can build anything random or like nothing. Oh, not necessarily landing. You can just build whatever you want, and we'll pick the project that is most humorous, and each member of the winning team will receive a digital copy of the game Oregon Trail with its expansion pack. Now we'll be going over to some of the sponsor prizes. So if Ryan could talk a little bit more about those after I finish. But sponsor prizes are prizes that are a little bit more, have a little bit more requirements and generally focus on the sponsored technologies. So as you can see, all of the 4 categories that we talked about, the 5 categories that we talked a little bit about before, even though they do have criteria, the criteria are pretty open-ended and vague, and generally you can tailor your project to these criteria. But these criteria are more hard criteria instead of soft, and it's using the sponsored technologies in these cases. And these categories will be judged by our sponsors. So if Ryan could talk a little bit about each of these, that would be great.
Sure. So specifically for the Cockroach Labs prize, this prize will be given to the team who creates the best project using Cockroach Labs database technology in the process. And all teams who use CockroachDB to enter their hackathon projects will be eligible to enter this. And for the prize, the members of the winning team will each receive a $100 Amazon gift card or DoorDash gift card for up to 4 members. And then for the best use of MongoDB Atlas, this is sponsored by MongoDB. This prize will be given to the team who created the best project using MongoDB in the process. And all teams who use MongoDB to create their hackathon project will be eligible to enter. And specifically, members of the winning team will each receive a MongoDB backpack for up to 4 members. The best AR/VR project powered by HackOR is sponsored by HackOR. And the challenge is to build the project using AR/VR application using the HackOR platform. All teams who use HackOR to create their hackathon projects will be eligible to enter. And the winning team will receive a $50 Amazon gift card, 3 months of free HackOR business tier access and per team member, and select projects will be featured on the HackOR inspiration page.
Yeah, so now we'll talk a little bit about who our sponsors are and who is helping us to make HackOR possible for all of you.
So first off, we have NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is a graphics processing chip manufacturer of graphics processing units, also known as GPUs, which are used for competitive gaming, professional visualization, and cryptocurrency mining. Fueled by the massive growth of the gaming market and its insatiable demand for better 3D graphics, NVIDIA evolved the GPU into a computer brain at the intersection of virtual reality, high performance, computing, and artificial intelligence. And if you want to check out their website, it's nvidia.com. Our next sponsor is Elastic, and Elastic is the company behind the Elastic Stack. That's Elasticsearch, Kibana, Beats, and Logstash. From stock quotes to Twitter streams, Apache logs to WordPress blogs, Elastic helps people explore and analyze their data differently using the power of search. And their website is elastic.co. And they also have an Elastic bootcamp opportunity, and it's student-friendly. And if you want to find out more information, it'll be in our slides.
We'll also be emailing this information opportunity to you. And this bootcamp opportunity, I think, ends on the 30th. So make sure you check out it fast. And if we can we maybe click into it to show them a little bit more about what it's about. Yeah, so we'll be sending this email to all of you about how to use Elastic. It's a very good bootcamp in terms of to teach you a little bit more about Elastic Stack and about what exactly Elastic is and how to use it, and it's very student friendly. So each of these links is one part of the bootcamp if you click into the bullet points, and you can feel free to RSVP whenever you feel ready. We're not gonna click, okay, cool. Yeah, so now we'll be talking about the Cockroach Labs. So I think the best way to introduce Cockroach Labs would probably to make them introduce for us. So let's maybe click into the video to talk a little bit more about. Oh, is the audio not working?
I think it would have to be screen shared separately. So if we want the audio, I think that it's fine if we want to just move on from the video without the audio.
Okay, is there a screen cap? Is there a caption for that? And we'll also be linking this in announcements too. All right, yeah, so that's the introduction for what Cockroach Labs is and what Cockroach DB is. And they'll be sponsoring a prize where you can use your technology. And our next sponsor will be MongoDB. So MongoDB is a document database, which means it can store data in JSON-like objects. And the MongoDB team believes that this is the most natural way to think about data, and it's much more expressive and powerful than the traditional row and column model. And then our next sponsor is Wolfram Language. And if Ryan wants to talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. So Wolfram Language was founded by Stephen Wolfram in 1987. Wolfram Research is one of the most respected computer and web cloud software companies, as well as a powerhouse of scientific and technical innovation. As a pioneer in computation and computational knowledge, we have pursued a long-term vision to develop the science, technology, and tools to make computation and an even more potent force in today's and tomorrow's world. And all participants in HackOR will receive free access to Wolfram One technology for the next 30 days, and then see the guide in the instructions under resources, Wolfram, for more information. And the website is wolfram.com. Our next sponsor is HackOR.
Yeah.
And HackOR is a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality that provides tools and server-side infrastructure to help developers and companies quickly build and deploy AR/VR apps and experiences. HackOR are backed by the Regime Ventures and Techstars, and receive grants from Y Combinator, Verizon, and NYC Media Labs. HackOR was named AR/VR finalist for SXSW 2020, won the Dev Project Award 2019, named among the 2019 most funded companies, and named one of the top 25 finalists in Sir Richard Branson's Extreme Tech Challenge, or XTC, in 2019, and featured on The Hill and Bold TV. And their website is HackOR.xyz.
Yeah, and with all of our sponsors introduced, before we move on to the next step, well, let's all take like a quick pause for a sec. Yeah, and that's all of like our sponsor technologies. For people who are maybe a little bit confused about what they do, feel free to check out their website and check out our dev post where we give a brief introduction to them as well, and our social media posts. And are we ready to show the next section? All right, so our next part after this would be our partners. And we have 3 partners. First is GatherTown, and GatherTown would provide us a platform for everyone to socialize. And Luke is actually the one of us that's organizer that's working on this. And if he wants to talk a little bit more about what GatherTown is and how people can go on GatherTown to help socialize on HackOR.
Yeah, GatherTown is a top-down RPG style conferencing platform, which is pretty unconventional, but it's a really exciting opportunity. You get to sort of walk around in like one of the old Pokemon games, and when you walk up to people, it'll bring up like a little Zoom conference between you and everyone who's around you. It's a lot of fun. We'll have a link up to that in the Discord. I'll put that in the
announcements.
In the announcements, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart. And if you have any other questions, I'll be in the Gather, or if not, there's also the Notion guide, which also is linked in the Discord. So, yeah.
Yeah, and our next partner is the Technology Association of Oregon, and they help us channel this event out too. And our last partner would be Design Buddies. And Design Buddies is an organization for UI and UX designers to sort of like socialize and talk about design. And they also helped us promote our event and invite and make this hackathon more design friendly. So thank you to Design Buddies for that as well. And then we have many schools that helped us create this hackathon, and many of the students from that school to thank. In particular, all of the schools listed on the slide And yeah, thank you for all of the schools partners that help us make this possible. You can ping or find the school sponsors by going to the partner section of our Discord, where many of them are there to answer any questions. So now, this is almost the last part, the last-ish part for what HackOR is. And we want to make sure you know how to reach out to us if you have any questions. And if Luke wants to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so if you are in the Discord and you have a quick question, the easiest way to get that answer is to just post it into the questions channel inside the Discord. If you are having more of like a problem or like a question that's not getting solved very quickly, you can take it to the Ask Organizers channel, where you can go to the ticket tool bot and click on the reaction of the envelope with the arrow on it. That'll give you a private channel with you and all of our organizers to help get your problem sorted out as quick as we can. But if you're having more of a tech issue, especially related to like one of the workshops, it would go best in the Ask Mentors channel, which has the same ticket tool and it works the same way. It just gets you in touch with different people. And then as far as email goes, we'll all be really busy while we're trying to make sure this thing runs smoothly. So only email us if you have a major issue, and we may take a bit longer to get back on that.
Yeah, so that is the last part of our closing ceremony. And to summarize, first of all, what you should be doing right now after this opening ceremony is first to decide which track you fall under, if not already. And second, form a team with people. You can form a team by socializing on Gather or attending some of our events, such as the team formation event that Ivan is hosting, happening right after this closing ceremony, or on the Gather Town that Luke is also hosting right after his opening ceremony. And make sure you follow the deadlines that Erin talked a little bit about, and submit for prizes, and make sure that you follow the prize guideline and which categories to submit to. If you have any questions or are confused and want to learn more, you can attend our workshops or panels and events. And make sure to ask questions on the Discord or through look for questions and answers on our guide. And we'll all see you at the closing ceremony. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming to our opening ceremony. We hope that this answers all the questions that you may have. If not, that's completely okay. You can reach out to us on the Discord or in the ways that Luke talked about. And in the next 3 days, we wish all of you best of luck and happy hacking. Yeah, I'll see you at the other events in the closing ceremony.